Victorian Duffy.
Okay, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Ireland, in a town about 10 miles outside of the city.
What was the main race in your neighborhood?
White. Everything was white. There was different religions, predominantly Catholic, but it was mainly white people, Irish white people.
Did this affect you in any way?
I don't think so. I think we probably didn't grow up with preconceived notions about other races because we never came across much at the time. I mean, there's a lot more different races over there now than there was then. But we didn't grow up with other races other than, I suppose there were Asians and...
Is it a lot different than here?
Yeah, well there's a lot more huge international race over here right now because there's come from everywhere. So America's pretty much made up of people who've emigrated to the country.
What common issues did you grow up with?
Pretty much the same as everybody else. You grew up, you know, wanting what everyone else had, or you grew up with people, you know, as they hit their teens, drinking problem, you know, people wanting to drink, people, as we got older, drugs came around, you know.
When you were growing up, was there like any sort of like depression or anything?
You know, I think when there was a recession in Ireland, we were too young to know about it. I mean, I don't think we knew that sometimes our parents struggled. I think they just shielded us from it, but we didn't think we were deprived or anything. I'm sure we would have liked more. Every kid wants more, but we didn't notice.
In what way was your school like discriminated?
Well, I suppose I went to an all-girl Catholic school, so, and it was in a nice town. We lived in a nice town, so when you went and met other people, they were all thought that we were rich, you know, snobs or whatever, but we really weren't. Some people were, I suppose, but pretty much we were just normal. I mean, nobody thought any different.
Was there like a lot of different groups in your school?
You always had the same. I mean, there was the athletes, the, you know, the more brainy people, whatever. But our school, my class, there was only 80 people. So you pretty much were just friends with whoever was your friend forever, because we all pretty much grew up in the same area. We weren't all coming in from different areas. So you went into school pretty much with your friends, and those were the same friends you left with.
So you never hung out with people from like different schools?
Oh, we did, because we went to school, you know, up till age 12, we all went to the one school, and then some people went to different schools after that. We went to different high schools. So you would meet your friends that you were friends with, and their friends that they'd made at school, so you got friendly with people that way. But plus we were an all-girls school, so we had to find boys somewhere.
Did your school have rivals, like how us in Hinsdale Central, or?
Not really, no, because there wasn't sports. Like, we played hockey and we played basketball and whatever. There wasn't the big sports. It wasn't as predominantly sport like America, or it seems to be right now.
So was there like any football or anything?
Some of the guys we hung out with played rugby and soccer, and we used to go watch their games and stuff, and there's probably more competition there, but we weren't, you know, our school wasn't big and known for sports.
So there was like no cheerleading or none of the...
No, because we'd no boys to cheer for.
What different social groups were at your school in like your community?
Well, I suppose there was, you know, the very well off, and then the not so well off, and then the people who were in the middle. But you didn't really, you know, I suppose because we came from a nice enough town, there wasn't a huge difference between people. Like, you know, there was people obviously with more money and went on nicer holidays and did stuff like that, but it wasn't really, didn't notice it as much. But I suppose we, as I said, we went to a fee-paying Catholic school, so pretty much everybody that was in there was doing all right.
How was your childhood different than mine or somebody that's my age in the United States today?
I just think we had a lot more freedom. We used to be able to go outside from, pretty young, play, we'd go off, we wouldn't have to be home until it was dinner time, we'd go off again in the evening and wouldn't, have to be home to whatever way to be home. We didn't have cell phones, so once we left, we weren't heard of again until it was time to come home. I think there's more pressure on your kids' age nowadays. It just seems to be a lot more. We just hung out, did whatever we wanted to do. I mean, there was drinking and there was, stuff like that when kids got old enough. But I think you guys have more pressure, peer pressure than.
How did you guys meet up when you wanted to hang out with friends?
We walked most of the time, unless we were going to a dance or whatever. We pretty much walked because most of my friends lived in the area, so we either walked or we would get buses or trains because we didn't drive. Nobody drove when I was growing up until I didn't learn to drive till I was 23. And most of my friends didn't drive until around the same time as well. We didn't have access to cars, so we would walk or get the bus or the train if we wanted to go somewhere.
Did you learn to drive here or there first?
Here. I never drove in Ireland until I came here and went home.
Was the process coming to the United States difficult or long?
It was. They were doing visas. They were issuing visas and I applied for it. But to get my visa I had to go through a medical check. I had to be tested for certain things and I had to have a job offer in the States. I had to have somebody, when I came here, somewhere to stay. So that was kind of hard because not everybody knows somebody here who can do all that for you. But I had some friends who were born here and then moved back to Ireland, so we had connections that way. But yeah, it's not easy coming in. But I was lucky. I knew somebody who could write me a letter saying I had a job.
Did you come alone or with friends or family?
No, a group of friends came over. About 6 of us came over around the same time. And we had a friend living here already, so we had somewhere to stay when we came, which was lucky because it's very hard when you get here to find somewhere to live. Because you have to have a job, you have to have credit, you have to have whatever, and of course just arriving in the country we didn't have any of that. So it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy coming to a new country and not knowing how people do things here and all that kind of stuff.
Did you have to take driver's ed or a class to be able to get your license?
I had a driving lesson on my way to to get my permit, and then I had a driving lesson on the way to do my test. That was it.
So you didn't have to do class or anything?
No, I had to read the book, but that was it. That's all I had to do. When I got my license, I was almost afraid to get in and drive on my own, because I didn't think I should be, but I did it.
Why did you come to the United States?
I just wanted to go somewhere different. I had lived in London a couple of times, for a couple of months over the summers when I was in college, and I liked it, and I just figured I'd come for a year and see how it was. Everyone was always going on about how great it was and stuff, so I figured if I came for a year and see how it was, then I would probably head home after that. But I'm here now 17 or 18 years, so.
So you were planning on going home after a little bit?
I only planned on coming for a year.
Then did you buy a house?
No, I rent. Myself and a friend, we both came for a year and we ended up she stayed for 2.5, and then there was still, I think, 4 of us here from the original group, so I just figured, I'll stay another year, and another year became another year, and all of a sudden, I had to renew my green card, because that only lasts for 10 years, and then you're kind of like, oh my goodness, I've been here for 17 years, so, but I like it here. I mean, otherwise I would have gone home, but it's difficult because all my family live in Ireland, so I have no family in the States, but they come and go, and I go home every Christmas, so it makes it easier. And my mum and my sister were just here last week, so.
How many siblings do you have?